Playing games with my heart.
You made me queer. You made me
Hello, I am Trevor Campbell, and this is You Made Me Queer, the show where queer people pretend it's Sunday and take you to church. And by church, I mean a Korean restaurant with a competitively priced lunch special. That's right. Every episode, I invite a fantastic 2S LGBTQIA plus guest to point the finger of blame at who and or what made them queer. How exciting to be here with you together on YouTube, doing another live episode of You Made Me Queer. This is my second live episode. Live episode, I'm doing air quotes if you're listening to this in audio format only, because we are digital. We're not in a room together eating popcorn and trying to look over the tall person in front of us. However, the last live episode I did was in June from Glad Day Bookshop, a pretty queer place, with special guest Hannah Shafi. Lovely Hannah, Hannah like honey. But today I'm coming at you live from my basement apartment, which I'm about to move out of. You can't see the basement behind me because I have a drop cloth. Sort of polar fleece, dirty drop cloth. But behind it is incredible architecture, skylights, which in a basement apartment would be super weird and awkward. It's a beautiful space, but I'm moving up in the world. And by up, I mean out of the ground, out of a tomb, basically. But doing a podcast live is extra fun. I'm very excited because you can watch us maybe make mistakes. Maybe something very embarrassing happens. I hurt myself. I sprain a finger. You can watch me battle with my low-grade speech impediment, which you may have already heard, which I think, undiagnosed, is caused by that little thing underneath my tongue, which connects a bit too far towards the end. So it's sometimes hard to say certain things. Funny story, actually. I once had a dental hygienist ask me to stick out my tongue during an appointment, and I did. And then the dental hygienist said, "Please stick out your tongue." And I said, "I'm doing it. I'm doing it right now. This is as far as it goes." And she laughed. And that's why I had to develop a winning personality. Just kidding. I'm also great with my hands. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Family show, right? Family-ish show. It's after 8 p.m., so I figure anything goes, right? I can make lewd jokes. Also, it's my show, so if you don't like it, close the window. Please don't. Please don't go. Disclaimer, anything goes. I love that. Look at what StreamYard can do. The future is now. Anyway, even though I'm coming at you live from the basement, I'm very excited. We have a very, very exciting show for you. I use we in the royal sense because I'm a king, but also because I'm here supported by the lovely folks at Sonar Network. Sonar, who now distribute my podcast. I love them. They are great. The end for now. But also, this is going to be a great show because I thrive in a crisis environment and a live environment. I have real theater training, much to the chagrin of my entire family. True story, actually. I went to music theater school, and one time my late grandma Peggy, props Pegs, brought me a hat she found in her basement, like a weird straw hat, and she said, "I thought you could use this at school." Because she thought, this was college. She thought this, we just like put on costumes and ran around and made up stories together, which in her defense is actually not terribly far off. I mean, look, I'm still in a basement. So who's laughing now, Grandma Peggy? Let's move on. My guest today, I'm so excited. I'm a longtime fan of this person. My guest today is AK MACKELLAR. Do you know AK? Do you know Free to Move? If you don't, What's wrong with you? Let's learn a little more about AK before we meet AK. AK is the founder of Free to Move, a passionate queer and non-binary entrepreneur, speaker, and chronic illness advocate. I'm assuming not an advocate of chronic illnesses, but an advocate for people with chronic illness. We'll find out soon. Exciting, isn't it? AK is a certified personal trainer and fitness coach with a passion for inclusive movement. Like the gesture I just did. They know firsthand how alienating the world of fitness can be. I get that. I was an unathletic child and have always felt slightly uncomfortable and sexually charged by a exercise experience. Anyway, this led them to create Free to Move, a fantastic place of community. Look, mistakes only in live theater. Community building, inclusivity, and a radical non-diet wellness space for LGBTQ plus people. I could tell you more about them, but why not just hear it from themselves? So, without further ado, please put your sweet little digital hands together for the one, the only, AK MACKELLAR.
Hello. Oh my
Hi.
goodness. What an intro.
I mean,
amazing.
That's one word for it.
I was sitting over here honestly laughing out loud.
I'm already tired, so
Great, okay.
we've got a problem. This is great. Welcome. Thank you for coming to You Made Me Queer.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
And you're broadcasting live all the way from British Columbia.
Recent transplant to Vancouver, so far so good.
Great. I want to hear all about it. One thing I want to say too is as I said, I'm a big fan, legit big fan. And I think actually our projects have a lot in common. So I just want to do a quick little values check to make sure we align the way I think we align. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay, you can like true or false me.
Okay.
So, true or false? Both of our projects are created for and by queer people.
True.
Love it. Both of our projects are about community building and inclusivity.
Also true.
Okay. Both of our projects want people to feel capable, strong, and empowered.
Yes, true.
This is going so well. Both of our projects are built around the core principles of red hot queer rage and retribution with no statute of limitations.
Yeah. Fully true, fully accurate.
Oh, really? You're rage-based too?
Yeah, we encourage it. Air punches
Great.
in class.
Good. All good things grow from rage. So yeah, how's that going? How's the transplant? To Vancouver. Sorry, I didn't explain that properly. How is your
The
heart
cross-country
transplant?
move,
Okay.
yeah, happened a month ago. And I mean, it's been just like a lot of moving, a lot of apartment hunting stress. The Vancouver rental market is red hot, as is the purchasing market. Not that I'm in that at all. But overall, we are loving it.
So you found a place? You've rented
We
something?
did. It was very stressful though, because we were looking for a place and we have a dog, and even though everybody has a dog here, nobody wants to rent to someone with a dog.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
So did you admit to the
difficult.
dog, or was it like you have a big trench coat with the dog under it?
well, it's a little more strict here. So you have to own up to the fact that you have a dog, but you really, upsell their qualities. Oh, they never bark. They're honestly so well behaved. They just sleep all day and you never hear them, and they don't do anything. They're just so cute. And they only weigh 30 pounds.
Right.
So on.
They don't shed. And because
No.
this is a safe, confidential space, are any of those things true about your dog?
It's like they're all like 70% true.
Right.
So
that's close enough.
it's like rounding up.
You have to do it.
Yeah.
And they're aspirational qualities. Your dog can grow to become that dog.
Exactly.
Maybe. Well, congrats on your place. And British Columbia is beautiful.
Yeah, we are loving it. Little tough with the wildfires this summer, but Vancouver's have been too terribly hit, so that's great.
Well, that's real good. And I mean the whole world is burning down as we speak. So
Truly.
why not
Yeah.
like jump the line?
Yeah, I guess so.
Good for you. Had you spent a lot of time in Vancouver or British Columbia even before?
I visited probably like half a dozen times, and we came out to Vancouver last early fall in a very small window of COVID relative safety to come here, visit a few places, see if we can imagine our lives here, and then decide to move across the country for it. So that was a real scouting mission, and we did. We loved it, and then we decided to pack up our whole life and ship it across the country.
Oh my God, why not? I guess everything, I mean, you had that business sort of booming and free to move, but because it was so digital and virtual by that point, I guess it was like
Mhm.
now's the time.
Exactly. Yes.
And people on the West Coast love fitness.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of a different market, but overall, having an online business, you can connect with people from anywhere, which I love.
Yes. How is it different? Like I'll say I lived in San Francisco briefly. I've spent some time in Vancouver, but that's most of my West Coast thing.
Hmm.
And maybe because it's hilly, but I think Vancouver's hilly. I felt like everyone was a bit fitter, and they certainly had the butts to cash that to validate that check.
Yeah. Oh my God, that
Yeah,
would be true.
West
I
Coast butts.
think, yeah, that we love that. The
We
hiking
love-
culture is strong here, I will say. But I find like, I don't know, I think because people are more outdoorsy, they're more likely to have gotten outside with friends or done that stuff a little bit more. There's a bit of a higher just knowledge level when it comes to movement and
Mm.
different outdoor stuff and strength training than in Toronto, I found. But it's still relatively similar.
That sounds good though. Yeah, I know what you mean. We're pretty city slug here, I guess, in Toronto, but and the nature I feel like I went to Vancouver last time I was there was last February, just pre-COVID, and there was a legit palm tree in February.
Oh yeah, that
So
I did not expect. There are palm trees here.
yeah,
Um, Also, the number one biggest life difference that I've noticed about Vancouver, we have a car here. We had a car in Toronto.
okay.
You can get anywhere here in like 15, 20 minutes by car. You can get to the
So
mountains pretty
great.
much, maybe 20, 25. You can get out of the city so fast. I drove my partner to the airport this morning, 15 minutes to
Come
get there.
on.
You can't get anywhere in Toronto in 15 minutes. Like you can
Not it.
get 2 blocks, maybe 2 subway stops away in your car.
Honestly, to cross the city, even during COVID, when, it's cities have been abandoned, it's like
Yeah.
45 minutes. Oh my
So
God.
we're
Well,
shocked. We're saving so much time. The efficiency is next level. It's great.
this is perfect. So I think this is the perfect segue because already you're getting mad, I can tell, which I want to leverage. I love that heat, but also talking about efficiency and being, a smarter adult self who can enact justice. Which is why we're here, because AK, you and I know now, but we didn't know when we were impressionable, sort of malleable lumps of clay, that almost anything can make you queer.
Hmm.
And so we were there, wandering out into the wilderness, picking and eating mushrooms, touching especially like purple or orange colored butterflies, all the things that we know now through science can make you a queer person.
Yes,
But we didn't know.
truly.
You see, you know this. You know, as if I'm trying to teach you about nature. You live in Vancouver. But you know this now, and that's why I brought you here today, because now that we are fully formed adult entrepreneurs, one might say, we have the authority and the confidence to point the finger of blame at everything we're pissed as hell about. So I want to know once and for all, in front of the internet masses, AK MacKellar, who and or what made you queer?
Okay. I have been reflecting on this question for a little bit since we connected. And, you know, I thought, okay, what am I going to say here? What's the ultimate answer for what made me queer? Was it the competitive, highly transferable into gay sports? So, for example, I was a very competitive hockey player and soccer player. And, you know, Team Canada in either of those women's sports will tell you that basically everybody's gay.
That's right.
In those sports, okay, number one.
Okay.
Or was it the single-sex education where I was surrounded by only women between the ages of 12 and 18 in school? Neither of those two things.
It's not either of those?
It's not. It's not that.
Oh, God.
Those might be little baby roots, but
Okay.
what truly made me queer, and I have to tell you in a story form, so it's not going to be just a little hashtag.
Please
okay?
take the time, paint the picture.
So, first year university, first semester of the year, I am in this class called Bible and Western Culture.
Was this a religious university or just a religious class?
No, it's McGill.
Oh, God. Godless people.
I think I took it because somebody said it was easy and my friends were in it. The only reasons you do anything in first year. And I couldn't tell you what exact point in the year this was, but I was sitting in class and on my laptop, and this stranger sat down beside me and starts talking to me. And the first thing they say is, "Oh my gosh, I like your screensaver." My screensaver is a collage of Tegan and Sarah.
That's okay, go on.
But
That's the equivalent of like shooting off like a rainbow firework inside a building.
At this time in my life, I did not identify as gay or queer, and I didn't even really have the little like seedlings of being like I'm a baby gay.
Right, you like them for the music and the bands.
I just really like their art.
Of course, yeah. They're Canadian legends, but as you were, go on.
What's not to love? So this person proceeds to talk to me, and they're going on about Tegan and Sarah to start, and then they switch topics to talking about the L word. And they're talking to me as if I am like a card-carrying member certified queer.
And you didn't identify in this way at all.
I had never even heard of the L word.
So, and you know what? That's okay. That's okay. No offense to the L word, not TV's masterwork. But when so Tegan and Sarah, you said, okay, yeah, everyone likes Tegan and Sarah. They're pretty mainstream, but L word is a niche queer hit. So were you like, oh, they've misunderstood. They think I'm a queer person.
No, I was just
or it still didn't register.
I was like, and they were talking about like they were going full broad. I think I was just nodding along, being like, yeah, definitely, like just going with it. And after that conversation, I immediately went back to my dorm room, Googled what the L word was, and then watched the entire show, you know, in the dark, in my room, over like a few days to weeks, and had my own little queer awakening.
Wow.
But it gets even better because that stranger who is sitting next to me, I recognize them.
Oh, I thought you sorry. I thought you were saying that stranger is sitting next to me, and then they poke their head in the frame and it's your partner.
No.
That would be the
way
best.
different. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
Okay, sorry. Go on.
No. The stranger who was sitting next to me in class that day, I recognized her from being a contestant on Canada's Next Top Model. So you're
making this whole story up. Keep going.
From Canada's Next Top Model, her name's Tia, made me queer.
Oh my God. Okay, so there's so much here. So yeah, so Tia was the messenger who basically like slipped all the I don't want to call it poison because it's tastier. Sugared whatever, the honey trap into your porridge. What is this metaphor? So this person, it was a person.
Yeah.
But were you Was there any, it's not like they were, well, obviously they were hitting on you, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Nothing ever happened?
Did not have that awareness at the time. Nothing ever happened. I don't even know if I ever saw her in class again.
She just dropped in from the ceiling, full makeup, told you these things. Oh
my
God.
Queer little fairy godmother came in to Bible and Western culture, dropped this queer awakening bomb, and then just disappeared into the abyss.
And then I love that too, because then you had to go back to Bible in Western cultures, like emphasis on the Bible, and be like, I just realized I want to make out with Shane from the L Word.
Yeah, right.
Or whatever. That's
Pretty
almost
much
the extent of my L Word reference. And then and then you had to reckon with it on your own?
Yeah, I know. Tia should have been there, but
Tia, you had unfinished work.
Yeah, it was.
So how did that go? Was that messy?
Well, it was kind of funny. It was a bit comical because every day I would basically race home from class and go into my dorm room, and I wouldn't turn the lights on. I had my own dorm room, little tiny little box room, and just sit there and be streaming the L Word. And my friends would like come in my room and they'd be like, "What are you doing?" I'd be like, "I'm watching the L Word. Go away."
I can't explain it to you. The story doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I was just like, and they would be like, "Okay," and then leave, and then got to this point where I'd be like, "Oh, you're such a lesbian." I'd be like, "No, I'm not. I just like the show." But like, come on.
Said no one ever. No one ever. Yeah, no one's like, but I'm here for the cinematography.
Right? Yeah.
But so you plowed through the L Word, to use probably the appropriate verb for that, and then you still weren't sure that had anything to do with your sexuality. What did you do during the sex scenes? Drink a tall drink of ice water.
Yeah, I don't know. I was in awe, I think.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
What?
Yeah.
How? Where? Who?
Right.
I think I wasn't ready to admit it to myself yet for a little bit, and definitely not ready to admit it outwardly to, friends and relatively new friends, This is still first year in a dorm.
And what a pivotal time where like you are trying to not only figure out your own identity, but assert that identity. I've talked to people who are like first year university, because there are so many people at once. You kind of have to, it's almost like you're in a reality show. You have to find your shtick to be remembered. And it's like, oh, you're the person with the braces, or like you're the one who loves rhythmic gymnastics or whatever. So like you have your thing and you have to know what that is quick. Does that make sense? So you had to like, to be learning about yourself at the same time complicates the branding.
I had to do a full rebrand.
That's right. A new logo and everything. God damn it.
Yeah. So it was a messy time, like inward, I think, but outward it was just the first year university messy with lots of fun in Montreal.
Yeah.
A little bit of class and like, figuring out your identity and who you are and who you want to be. Yeah.
Did it go, so when did that transition, and I still want to go back to lady sports and lady school, but we can come to that, or like whatever. But also, when did people through the screen transition to something more?
I think I was, after a little bit of watching this, was like, why do I enjoy this so much? Why does it make so much sense to me? And at the same time, I had a boyfriend, like a first year boyfriend, who I felt always conflicted because I wanted male attention. But when I got it, I was like not interested in it anymore.
Huh.
So I was like making sense of that and this boyfriend that I wasn't really interested in, that poor guy in so many ways. Sorry.
Yeah.
And
who is listening, please welcome into the
oh my God, that's
Tia and your ex-boyfriend join. Yeah.
A more Povich version of the show.
Yeah, seriously. Wow.
Yeah, so contending with all of that, and then a layer of like, you know, homophobia that's just internalized from growing up and figuring yourself out once you've left. I grew up in Toronto, so I had left my hometown and friends and family and was in this new place, and it was exciting but also scary and all of those things at once. So like adding another big identity shift felt difficult and scary, and something that I like kept quiet and close to myself for basically the whole year in first year. Okay. Yeah.
And you, at this point, how many seasons of the L Word? What, like, was the show wrapped or was it still?
It was wrapped. Yeah.
Okay. So you finished it.
Yeah.
You were ready to move on to
quickly, like maybe 6 weeks, you know?
Okay. Wow. Yeah. You crushed it. That's funny because part of and I think this is true for a lot of queer people or people who were part of a smaller group that they couldn't find in their real lives, connected to the secret part of me through TV. For a lot of us, it was problematic TV. So for me, it was Queer as Folk. First, the British version, then the US version, which was filmed in Toronto, actually. But a weird, like, because for me, watching that show, I was like, oh, cool, queer people being themselves. And that felt really empowering. But also, a lot of it was kind of trauma-based in a way that I was like, ooh, these lives seem really fraught. And also in a way where, like, I could identify with some ideas of it, but not really like in a whole fashion. So did you feel, was there a place for you in the L Word universe?
I think that's hard to say. I don't think I saw myself truly in any of the characters, but it finally felt like understanding my identity in a way that I hadn't before, because I couldn't understand why. I was like, you know, I've had these boyfriends, but I'm just not that interested in them. What is that, you know? And then watching this and almost being like, how did I not know? And it being a whole sort of like mind blown.
It's weird, hey? And then what was that, if I may ask, what was that conversation like with the boyfriend when the penny had really dropped? Was that a breakup that involved and the L Word season 2, blah, blah, blah? Or were you just like, it's not working out?
No, I was, I'm embarrassed to say.
I mean,
my breakups with like these, you know, short-lived boyfriends were always just like so terrible on my part, being like, I'm not interested anymore. Gotta go. Bye.
Yes. Yeah.
And them being like, what just happened? But, you know, inside there was so much happening. I couldn't verbalize. I couldn't make sense of. I hadn't told anyone really what I was going through. So it was just sort of like, okay, bye to you. And like, I'm getting out of here as fast as I can.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah, because there's so much unspoken. Like you said, it sort of almost feels like survival to get out of those situations. But I don't have a glass in front of me. But let's take a moment to raise our glass to, because we always focus on the, you know, the queer person's exodus story, which is great when it's like, I found me, gotta go. But all those really well-meaning, often straight partners who just get totally ghosted out.
Yep.
So here you go.
Here's to you, to all of you.
My last girlfriend named Kristen. This was in a coal town in Ohio. Yes, love straight people. Love that little thing. We do. I lived on the Ohio River in a coal town, which is a separate story. And my last girlfriend was in grade 11. Her name was Kristen. She had a cool mom. Her mom's words. She was one of the ones who was always like, I'm a cool mom. Do you guys smoke? You can smoke around me. And I'd be like, what? I'm 16. All I do is play video games. I don't smoke. But she'd be like, do you want to drive the minivan? Come on. I'm a cool mom. Oh, I know. And then I broke up with her daughter, and I think she was pretty upset. And it was only after a few weeks. I told her I used the term gay at the time. And she was like, are you sure? And I was like, this isn't going well. So I was like, maybe I'm not sure. I'll let you know. And I think that's where we left it.
Did you ever let her know?
No, I should probably, I'm gonna reach out to her. Be like, hey, it's been about, I would say 21 years. I'm assuming you're still maybe waiting for me to come back. I'm still, in fact, queer, and now I don't live in your country anymore.
Good, like tying up loose ends.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what this is about. You call it closure. I call it revenge. So you did that. That was first year. That
Yeah.
was like the big start of the next chapter. And then were you full blown, or like were there other sort of queer eureka moments in your journey?
Um, there weren't eureka moments in that way. There was definitely some like um dramatic coming out moments, but that was the real like eureka moment in Bible and Western culture class, catalyst. There was definitely queer undertones happening through like childhood and adolescence, but that was the catalyst, and then the coming out was sort of like sporadic after that, I'll
It's
say.
so delicious. I love that because the bake is long, but
Yeah.
then when that it's ready, when that heat starts going, wow, I'm really being illustrative with my metaphors tonight. Also, I need to go back to, and we don't have to spend a long time in them, but this same-sex school you've talked about, which in my mind is like a sexy Hogwarts. Were you playing field hockey? Were you
There
in a
was
kilt?
field hockey, but I didn't play it.
Okay, you just watch with binoculars from from a tree.
Yeah.
Where was the
So
school?
it's in Toronto.
Okay.
It's a girls' private school, and it is also well, rumor has it. I can't remember what this movie is called. I'm like racking my brain right now, but there's a movie about, I think like Piper Perabo is in it.
Sure. From
About
what was she in? From Coyote Ugly?
yeah, and
I mean, that's a
Marissa from the OC.
these are deep cuts.
I have
Great.
the worst memory and I can never remember people's names, so I have to use these like riddle
That's
style.
right.
Misha Barton, that's her name.
Okay.
That is filmed, and it's like an all-girls school, and it's supposed to be based on a story that happened at the girls' school that I went to, and it's like a lesbian love story from a high school, but it has a bad ending, so we won't go there.
Okay, we will just snip out the ending. But there was like to use a reference that was used about Catherine Hahn, a deeply sapphic energy in that school.
Yeah, so there was this story, but at the same time, this was when I went there, early 2000s, so like 2001 to 2009. There were rules at our school that were low-key homophobic.
Okay, for
So,
example.
for example, you weren't allowed to hold hands with a classmate or link arms
What?
and like walk down the hallway. Like those
Weird
are
to
sort of the main ones.
sexualize that. Okay.
Yeah. And like it was always like, vaguely put under like, you don't want to block the hallway, but we're like, what difference does it make?
Yeah, and as if the way you're doing it, you're like linked arms five across like a snowplow, just like barreling down the hall. Teachers are like jumping
Yeah.
into lockers.
Being like just walked right over. Like, no. So there was that. And there was also this energy, I'll call it, that was like, if there was rumors about someone that they were gay, it wasn't a good thing. There was no Gay Straight Alliance. There wasn't any support for queer students, even queer teachers. There was people that we all like assumed were gay or
Yeah.
were lesbian or whatever, but they weren't really out at school. So it wasn't, what I assumed to be what it is now to be potentially in high school and be
Right.
supported in like a Gay Straight Alliance or something like that.
May I also ask,
Um,
was this a religious themed school?
it was technically Anglican.
Okay.
I
They're a
would,
bit gentler.
yes, and like to be honest, I would say most people at that school like didn't go to church. There was lots of people who were not Christian. They were Muslim or Jewish. Like it wasn't a strong part of the identity there. So it wasn't based on religion.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Just weird sort of baked in homophobic things as, as people were wont to do at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like my little baby queer heart is, by the end of high school, developing like a little crush on some friends, but not really realizing that that's what that is. Like things like that happening that at the time I didn't really flag as queer, but looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, I felt differently about that person than my other friends.
Right. Totally. And it's weird too. Yeah, there's something about, because I went to Catholic school when it was like uniformed, and something about like the taboo, like they were very overtly like don't be gay, you'll go to hell sort of thing, and also had the weird sort of misogyny and gender performance of like, and boys play football and girls wave pom poms kind of thing. So like just knowing how taboo my sexual desires were just made them hotter, to be honest, and you can ask my therapist about that, that's true, and also made me just want them more because they were so forbidden. So something where it's like you can't even touch your crush, it just like steams it up.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
And like there was rumors of relationships. There was like in grade 12, we had what it was called a grad common room. So in the basement, we had like this big room with our lockers and couches and TVs and stuff, like place to hang out when you were in class. And like people cuddling and spooning on the couches, like just, and I just remember that and being like, am I looking? I'm not looking.
What's happening? Remember this.
Why do I want to look at them so badly? I'm confused.
Right. So, yeah, it's where like it's the behind the knowledge of what's happening, something instinctual knows like I'm responding to this, but I don't have the language for it or even the thought for it maybe. So by the time Tia dropped out of that air duct into your classroom, you were just like a pressure cooker, just like ready for someone to give you permission to watch, I guess, and feel.
Yeah. Like give you a path or show you the menu almost, being like, these are the options.
That's right. That's right. Did you know that we serve these things?
like barely.
Oh, yeah. I know, right? After a life of TV dinners, is that where I want to go with that? Limited options.
Very.
Very. Well, that's real spicy. And then I guess that sports you talked about briefly, you skipped over, was it school or was that outside?
It was at school, but it was also outside of school. I played like with competitive clubs for hockey and soccer.
Yes.
And that was a big part of my life. It was very intense. It was very time consuming. It was outside of school. Basically all we did was play hockey and train and whatever.
Right.
And when you're younger in the hockey environment, it's not such a thing. But as you get older, like there starts to be a lot more sort of, I don't know, not like sexual energy, but something between teammates or with people. And then the age groups start to get bigger. So like when I was in grade 10, you play with people up until grade 12. And then you go to hockey camps with people who are in university, and it exposes you to older people who are like living their big gay lives that I wasn't aware of. And I'm like, what? This is a thing. And sort of learning about that aspect of sports and also like university sports. I just remember being like another sort of, I don't know, like, yeah, this is making more and more sense as I'm getting more and more exposed to people.
100%. And that's an age too, I think, where even like a year or 2 years can make such a big difference. Like embodies the time you develop, but also like be acting like an adult and feeling having agency and things like that, where suddenly you're like, yeah, I'm queer and I'm not sorry about it. Where to like someone a year younger, you're like, what?
Yeah. And
That's
just
so
thinking like
great.
conversations like that. I just remember being at hockey camps and being like, like hanging out with the older kids and them just talking about things and being like not ashamed of it, and someone being just like, yeah, I'm gay, and them being so just comfortable with their identity.
Mm-hmm.
And as the like 15-year-old or 14-year-old that I was, I'm like, oh my God, I've never met someone like that. I've never been
Totally,
around
right?
someone like that.
And that's important too, like you said, because I mean, we're joking about a lot of things. And of course, like the sensationalist aspects of coming out, those like lightning rods can be like the push you need sometimes. But it's also really empowering to start to see people who don't sensationalize their, or that experience is not sensationalized for them. So people aren't like, here's my lesbian friend, or like, here's my whatever. It's just like, here's a person, they also identify as queer or whatever. And let's go, play hockey or whatever it is you did.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Sports stuff.
Exactly.
I love
Yeah.
that. Well, listen, this has been enlightening for me. Very interesting, very titillating, I think, for some of our listeners and viewers if you're watching live. And the time is coming soon where I have to let you go. But before I do you want to play a game?
Absolutely, I do.
Great. That's really the only answer I'd accept. Okay, this game is called Queer, Queerer, Queerest.
Okay.
The rules are very simple. I'm going to give you 3 things. You have to put them in order from least queer to most queer and tell me why.
Okay.
Any questions?
No. Shoot.
Great. Shoot. Here we go. Thing number 1. Animals that kill their mate after sex. For example, the praying mantis, I believe, does this.
Okay.
Okay. Thing number 2. Oscar Mayer's Lunchables. You know Lunchables?
Oh, I do. I
yeah.
feel like I existed on them for
Perfect.
a few
Then you can
years.
relate. These sort of stencil cut meats, cheeses, and crackers with little to no nutritional value. You could probably speak to this better than I could, even though I ate many. Thing number 3. The 1998 feature-length internet provider commercial called You've Got Mail, a film with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. Yeah, are you familiar with the film?
I'm familiar with it, but I don't know if I've seen it.
That's okay. So real quick, it's
Okay.
adapted from a play. Then later was made into a film in the 40s, but basically was remade into a Nora Ephron romantic comedy in 1998, where it's like a meet cute with Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks, where they like pass on the street, but they don't know that they're secretly like arch nemesis because they own different bookstores, and it's like a class struggle, but she's cute and she's got like feathered hair, and Steve Zahn is her bookshop assistant, and they like hate each other and love each other the whole movie, and then of course they fall in love. But it's all like a sponsorship through AOL, that early internet provider, so that's why the movie's called You've Got Mail.
It was actually a sponsorship with AOL.
It 100%, because the whole thing was like they're always chatting about things.
Yeah.
They're always on AOL Messenger. So yeah, shout out to our sponsor, AOL. Do they still make anything? Who knows where they are? They used to send you CDs in the mail, and they'd be.
How's
be like,
AOL doing? Has anybody checked on AOL?
anyone? What are the price of AOL stocks? Is that where we should be putting our money right now?
The new Bitcoin.
That's right, the new Bitcoin. You heard it here first. Buy AOL. So anyway, it was a rom-com through like heavily sponsored, very cute, America's prince and princess, Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan at their cutest,
Yeah.
but also like an annoying mistaken identity thing. So in conclusion, because you're stalling, and I respect that as a tactic, but enough. The 3 things are animals that kill their mate after sex, Oscar Mayer's Lunchables, the 1998 feature-length internet provider commercial You've Got Mail, starring Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks. Least queer to most queer, and why?
Put me on the spot. Okay, I feel torn because I feel like it could go either way with this, or I could go either way with this. But the internet relationship back and forth on AOL feels very queer to me.
Okay, so wait, are we going queerest? Straight out of the gate?
No, I think I'm just going to talk it through first.
Okay, yeah, to find that talk.
Praying mantis feels both very queer and also very straight. at the same time.
For what?
Very
For body
queer
type? Or?
because
Okay, go ahead.
I
Was
feel
that? Are
like
you reading me right now? I'm lean, but I'm strong. Okay, AK.
Yeah.
Free to move.
Very queer because I could see that some intensity in queer relationships that you could just want to eat your partner because you just want them all. That could be very queer. But on the other side, it could just be a situation where you're just done with that partner. I feel like that is my straight relationship. If I could have just ate them and get it done with, that I would have ended that relationship with my first year boyfriend that way.
That's right. Okay. It's that
And then
there's no there's no
Lunchables.
body, there's no trail. Okay.
No, there's nothing. Lunchables feel really solidly in the middle for me. And I think just we all grew up eating Lunchables. Maybe
Yeah.
even the gays more than the straights. I don't know, but it seems pretty gay to me.
What?
Just a sense, just a sixth sense with
Yeah,
that one.
something about it. It's very like as it's very fastidious as a cis male who grew up as gay identifying in the recesses of my mind. Something about the
Yeah.
neat quality of that
Yo, yeah.
meal felt like it was within my control. I was not threatened by that food.
Yeah, everything had its little place.
That's
That was a
right.
nice element to it.
But it's
I ate a lot of
very
the pizza ones.
oh yes.
That
Like
was
it was like a
my
little like a ketchup bag, a squeeze of sauce. So gross. But also, just to raise a counterpoint for a devil's advocacy, it's like people trying to fit in holes, which is like the definition of the heteropatriarchy.
I guess so.
Yeah, but
It could
it's,
go either way.
you're right. And I'm not here to challenge you. I'm just here to,
So I think
to
I'm going to choose the praying mantis to be the least. Oh, if you're a baby queer and you just want to eat your boyfriend, that's pretty gay.
That's pretty gay.
Okay, change my mind. That is the most queer. I'm actually going to put You've Got Mail in second place
Whoa.
and put Lunchables in last for a queer.
So when last okay, you're taking my terms and flipping them. So least queer, it's fine. I'm just so excited. Least queer is Lunchables.
Yes.
Middle queerer is You Got Mail.
Yeah.
Queerest is killing your mate after sex. When you say it that way, it sounds like a problem, but we know what we mean.
We do.
I love this. Okay, so let me check because as you can tell, this is a very scientific test and I have to do some calculations.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Congratulations, you win. We froze. Oh, the dramatic tension got destroyed. Wait, let's do that moment again.
Okay.
You win. Oh,
Yeah.
you're still not going to do anything?
No.
Oh, I thought you reacted.
Do
Okay.
what?
Oh, God. This is a disaster. Cancel the show. Okay. So you win, and you are, in fact, a queer person. Congratulations, AK MACKELLAR.
Thank you. Wow.
Yeah. Science doesn't
Feels
lie.
good to be honored this way.
That's right. Now you know for sure. Tell that boyfriend the jury is not out. The jury is in.
Final. That's
Officially
the final
queer.
verdict. Yeah.
That's right. That's what this is for. So thank you so much. This was a joy for me, a rage-filled joy. And before I let you go, and I don't want to, anything you want to plug?
Oh my goodness. I suppose I'll share a little bit about the community that I've built called Free to Move,
Yes.
which is an online movement platform for queer folks. We are a body inclusive space, which means that we are chronic illness friendly. We love every kind of body type imaginable, chronic pain friendly. As you mentioned, Trevor, in your intro, I am a chronic illness advocate, advocating for people with chronic illness, not to have a chronic illness necessarily for everyone. Thank you for clarifying that. I absolutely laughed so hard at that.
Thank you. Yes. But yes, what you're doing is very important.
Yes, but when I first started doing this, I felt really scared to be serving both a queer community and a chronic illness, chronic pain community, because I thought how they're can't be that many people like me. When it turns out there are. So if anyone out there who's watching or listening is looking for a supportive movement and wellness community that's totally non-diet and community-oriented and super inclusive, feel free to check us out.
Yes, amazing. As I said, I first got introduced to Free to Move through Instagram, and watching your community grow, it was so exciting and so positive. And as someone who loved things like that growing up, or wanted to like sports or do things like that, but felt like there was no place for me in it, or had a, weird levels of ability, or also wanted to kiss a lot of the people I was playing sports with. It was very confusing. And to have a community like that or options like that is so vital. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So where can they find you? What's the URL? What's the Instagram?
The URL is befreetomove.ca. That's where you can find us on the World Wide Web, I believe, as they call it.
And if you're using AOL's browser, it's the same URL.
Yeah. I'm like, does anybody call it that anymore? On Instagram, my Instagram is ak.mackeller. And we also have a brand new Be Free to Move Instagram, which is be.freetomove. So you can check us out there as well.
Yes, I love it. Please do that. Please, even if you think you've already got all your fitness needs covered, it's such a cool community, as AK said, and there's really something there for a lot of people. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to one of our watchers, our viewers of this live show, who said, "My friend said Lunchables are not fancy enough to be gay." Which there's a lot to unpack there. I was going to say there's a lot of meat there, but Lunchables famously low on meat, plastic-filled meat. But that is juicy. So AK, thank you so much. It's been a real treat for me to talk to you this way, to connect with you after being a fan of yours for so long. And
thank you for having me.
Oh my God, it was my pleasure. I did a weird thing where I stopped talking, but it sounded like I was going to say more. So I'll say more, which is, I was pretty queer when this conversation started, but talking to you about what made you queer has made me queerer than ever.
I'm so glad to hear that. And then just shout out to Tia from Canada's Next Top Model. Let's just, raise a glass.
Let's raise a glass to Tia. May your, whatever career, your industry you're in now, be long and fruitful, whether it's still modeling or maybe you've moved into multi-level marketing. Maybe you're selling Tupperware from your living room.
Tia, no shade. Send me a DM on Instagram if Tia or any of Tia's friends or cousins or neighbors twice removed see this. I would love to thank them for being my gay fairy godmother in Bible and Western culture.
Perfect. That's the place for it. And also, you will be hearing from AK's lawyers regarding reparations for making them queer. That's just part of it. It's part of it. So now what I would do normally on the show is over the outro music, read my credits, but I can't do that. So if you have maybe a harmonica or a pan flute nearby, maybe you just like to tap a rhythm on something, I'm going to read the closing credits.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
No pressure. Here we go. You Made Me Queer is created, produced, and edited. You're not making any music. I thought my ask was clear.
You're serious.
Okay, you know what? You're probably right, and I respect you. You Made Me Queer is created, produced, and edited by me, Trevor Campbell. Our theme song is by Critty. For more from music, check out lavenderbruisers.bandcamp.com. Our website is youmademequeer.com. Our Instagram handle and Twitter handle are at YouMadeMeQueer. New episodes of You Made Me Queer come out every other Thursday on the Sonar Network. We love the Sonar Network. Thank you for hosting this. And from the bottom of my and AK's big bent hearts, thank you for listening. Until next time, we're here. We're queer, and it's your fault. Bye!